welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy. I am recording this on October 6th. Eternal Weekend starts on October 9th. I am in crunch time at the time of this recording, and this is Dimir Tempo, the deck I am going to register for the US Eternal Weekend. Obviously, you're seeing this a couple weeks later, because that's just how this works. And this is also unprecedented because this is a reshoot of a video that I already released on the channel. Patreon subscriber R Gold gave me a dealer's choice to practice for Eternal Weekend, and that league, though I did release it to the channel, there was enough magic to make a video out of it. I had a power outage that killed a round. There were some weird pairings, like some insane run bads, like a mull to 4 without seeing a single land, just like weird stuff. And I want to do another league, another prep league. So I'm double dipping here. I'm giving R Gold a second league that hopefully won't have any tech issues, while selfishly continuing to test for Eternal Weekend on company time, as they say. This is the list inspired by Eco Baronin, where the main deck has one fewer Orcish Bowmaster than it could. There's 3 of these instead of 4, because the format's not really about drawing cards right now. There is a 4th Nethergoyf rather than 3, because the format is about applying pressure right now. There's obviously 4 Tamios. That's the whole thing that the format is about. Instead of 3 days, there's a second Brazen Borrower main. That is a concession to the games tend to go long. This Dimir Tempo deck has to take the control posture in a lot of matchups right now, just because of the speed of the format, and days falls off when you're on a slow game plan. Meanwhile, Murktide Regent is one of the cards you're weakest to in the main deck. Brazen Borrower solves both problems. And then the spicy sideboard, Twisted Image, we got one of these, kills Tamiyo outright, and it lets you kill Tamiyo easier with a Nethergoyf. Like on the play, if your opponent just plays Tamiyo, you can Twisted Image it around days, and they're down 2 cards whether they force it or if Tamiyo dies. Win-win. If they're on the play and they go Tamiyo, and you go fetch Nethergoyf, that's a 1-2. And then they brainstorm on their turn, flip their Tamiyo plus it, and pass to you. If you cast Ponder or Thoughtseize, Nethergoyf is now 2-3. It can attack their Tamiyo, it becomes 1-3, and then you could Twisted Image, which now adds an instant to the graveyard, and Nethergoyf is 4-2, and it kills the Tamiyo. So Twisted Image gets Tamiyo coming and going. It doesn't really do anything else, but Tamiyo is what the format's about, so here we are. And Dread of Night, the other spicy tech. White creatures get -1/-1, primarily for Nomad's Encore. But the Ocelot Pride decks are out there, and we don't have a traditional sweeper in the deck. Helps a lot there. I would bring it in versus something like Death and Taxes. And if I randomly queue into something like Maverick that has like Thalias and Mother of Runes or whatever, it's great there. That's the deck. These are the choices. Let's play it. I'm on the draw in round 1. Island Ponder Keep. Let's do it. In my head, my opponent is a Jeskai Stoneblade player. That's just something that is programmed in somehow. I'm not sure if it's true, but that's what my spidey sense is tingling. I have to get Underground Sea, and I am going to Ponder. Sometimes these decks have Wasteland, sometimes they don't, sometimes they have Back to Basics. Regardless, I am pretty interested in finding another land, which I did do. Another land in Ponder number 4. All 4 Ponders this early. Spicy. I like it. Obviously don't shuffle, is what we're here for. Okay. 2 basic lands out there. Looking strong. I think here I want to represent Bowmaster with Force of Will protection rather than Tamiyo plus Ponder. This could be something like Jeskai Wizards. I'm going to start working on basics here. Blue's the important color for my hand, and I do expect some sort of counterplay. Alright, disappointing that we did not hit on the land for Kaito that I think would have won the game on the spot. Exciting that we did hit on land. And I can push with a Tamiyo here. I have to get Underground Sea to do it because Swamp doesn't cast Ponder. Ponder. Time for some sort of showdown. Spell Pierce. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's medium. Like spell piercing a ponder when my hand's already good is okay. Stopping the Tamiyo is the important part there. And I just won a Force of Will showdown on the important card that we just mentioned. And that means Kaito's going to connect here. But after blocks, I'm going to fetch because I want to replay Tamiyo here. I don't want to lose my Orc army forever. I don't want Orcish Bowmaster to leave play. And Tamiyo's the one I can redeploy easily. I've drawn one card this turn. Surveilling won't change that. Won't get me to 3. It does change how many cards I drew, obviously. All right, top. Those are just bangers. And the Re-Tamiyo. Cool. Just a little fight over back to basics, which seemed like it was their whole plan there. We didn't see white mana. I don't think is it back to basics is a thing. Like, is it control? I suspect they have and were missing a color. Daze is pretty bad against decks with high basic counts. Force of Will is kind of mid versus most of what they're doing. Back to basics is the one card I would really want to have a fight over. These Nile Spellbombs are probably not that important. I'm going to bring in Twisted Image just because blue decks usually have Tamiyo in them, though I didn't actually see anything except Island Mountain back to basics that game. And Spell Pierce, I guess. Saw that one. It's okay to cut a Wasteland versus decks where it's not that good, because it barely taps for mana anyway. It helps you cast Orcish Bowmaster and Ninjutsu Kaitu. It's like these 3 cards in the middle. It sacks clues too. Yeah, that's actually worth something. Is there a worse cut than Wasteland? No, I think I'm going to do it like this. Oh, I put that in the wrong pile. I'm looking for another card to bring in, not another card to cut. Okay, I did that backwards. I could keep all my forces. I could bring in Hydroblast to respect something like Fourth Aerlingus, Flame of Anor. They obviously have red cards in their deck. Consigned to Memory can blow out Stoneforge Mystic, which I only even remotely suspect they have because I recognize their username, not because of anything that actually happened in that game. Alright, I'm going to just keep Force of Will in. I think cards like Baragoi and Tamiyo are good enough at winning the game on their own that I can spend 2 cards to make it happen. Sweet. Love this hand. Keep. Can we smoke a Tamiyo for the first time on camera? Not off of a ponder, we can't. A land would be a great draw. I don't think they have Wasteland if they have back to basics. Those cards tend to be mutually exclusive. Cool. All right, now I don't have to make a decision. I can just Thoughtseize them and curve my way up to Kaito. Look at this. Big handful of bangers. Force of Will. I think Teferi is the scariest card in this hand. Jace is fascinating. Jace sucks against Bowmaster, though. Teferi kind of sucks against Bowmaster, too. But if I take Force, they make a land drop. I play Bowmaster. They plus because bouncing Bowmaster kills Teferi either way. I attack for 4. Replay. I can't replay Bowmaster right away. They will get to resolve Jace if I take Force of Will. But Jace isn't that scary if I have Orcish Bowmaster in play. Alright, bet. I'm going to bet against this handful of things that draw cards by taking away their counterplay to Orcish Bowmaster. Flooded Strands in play. I have access to my basics now. Basic Swamp online. Yeah, they can't afford to fetch a non-basic here because Wasteland's too devastating. Oh, well, that's not the one I was expecting, but not upset about it. Not really. I'm actually going to Bowmaster in the end step. It's worth a land. Because I can Bowmaster off basics for the refire next turn. It's pretty decent, actually. Attacking Stoneforge Mystic. That is the thing I said they might have. Bowmaster plus Twisted Image kills Stoneforge Mystic. But I don't think I can afford to do that. I can make them block, though, because Kaito's too deadly. And another 1 to you. That's good, too. Interesting. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to push this thing. Playing around Spell Pierce, a card we've seen. There's 1 unknown in their hand. Alright, beats coming. And this is where these blue-white decks start to flounder. Like, you really need 4 mana to play a lot of these decks well. And, like, you keep a hand with 3 lands, but you have to fetch basics, or else your hand doesn't work at all. But then your hand also might not work at all if there's, like, a red card or a double white card in their hand. Alright, Cryptic Coat. This creates 3/2 that can't be blocked. Okay, another land. I'm just going to attack with Orc Army. No, this has Ward. Yeah, I'm going to attack with Orc Army. They have to think about Kaito here. If I attack with everything, they definitely block a Bowmaster. But I'm happy to trade with this because I'll just play Barrogoyf. I might just play Barrogoyf anyway. Alright, yeah, take 2 and I'm going to cast Barrogoyf. Swords to Plowshare is pretty good. But again, it costs them this whole turn. That Snapcaster Mage is still in the hand, though. Gotta stay aware of that. Doesn't have to be in the hand. How worried about Snap Plow am I? If they Snapcaster this end step, they get no spell, but they can put lethal on Kaito. Alright, I'm just going to attack with Orc Army. Orc Army fight. And then I'm going to Thoughtseize. I'm just playing patient around this Kaito. I think it'll kill them whenever it happens, and it's fine. Okay. 2 Jaces, Snapcaster, Stoneforge, Teferi. I'm obviously not taking a Jace. I don't think I care about Teferi either. It's Stoneforge or Snapcaster. Stoneforge is a pretty good blocker. They can also pick up Cryptic Coat in the end step and refire that. I don't really want Swords to Plowshares happening. I think Plow is less bad for me than Stoneforge is. They have to Stoneforge in the main phase, though. Alright, I'm taking the Snapcaster. I'm more worried about Plow. I've decided. And they are picking up the Coat. This means the Cloak still has Ward, but it's not unblockable. We drew a land. Can't really shove Jace into this board. Right, there's Stoneforge. We have perfect information right now. Batterskull. Operational. Now I have to decide how I want to do this. I could Twisted Image just to cantrip, but Twisted Image kills Stoneforge next turn with a Bowmaster involved. Yeah, I think I just have to twist the Stoneforge Mystic now and rip off a cantrip. Yeah! Okay. I know they can't do anything with their hand. I'm going to attack with my Orc Army. See if they're ready to trade off this Cloak for it. Okay, there's a block. And now I have the interesting decision. I could Fatal Push the Germ token when they make it. I could Fatal Push Stoneforge now, but if they draw a land and just cast Batterskull, I don't like my chances there. Alright, I am just going to push the Stoneforge Mystic itself, and I'm going to add Tamiyo to the board. Tamiyo is unblockable for Kaito. Okay, I don't really want them to draw a land here. But even that's actually fine, because I just Ninjutsu Kaito, lock down the Germ, and then we beat. Cryptic Coat has returned. Raisin Borrower, alright. You can keep the gas flowing here. I'm going to fetch. This gives away the Kaito, but so would fetching after blocks. Kaito, this puts them to 4. Kaito has 4 loyalty. I could make Kaito lethal next turn, or I could fix my hand. If I find a force, I don't think I could ever lose. It would cost me Kaito to stun Batterskull if they draw a land next turn. If there's a creature under Cryptic Coat, that's a little bit of extra texture. Just, but what 3 or 4 power creature would they have in their deck? Right, I'm going to draw cards. Right, a fresh Tamiyo and a fresh Kaito. I don't want either of these, actually. Kaito, Tamiyo into the bin. Thoughtseize. Basically always happy to see that card versus blue-white. Prismatic Ending. So they can answer one of my Bowmasters now. Yeah, this is an Orcish Bowmaster pretty much soloing a blue-white control deck. We've seen this before. Thoughtseize and Force of Will in the mix here. If I plus Kaito, they have a forced block, so I'm going to plus Kaito. This will kill the Cloak, and they'll take 1. Just good old combat math. And second main Thoughtseize you. I'm just trying to win with on the board. Batterskull, Brainstorm. Yeah, I'll take the Batterskull. And their hand is a bunch of cards that kill them if they use them. Yeah, from the blue-white side, I would generally consider any kind of tempo deck a good matchup. But Tamiyo and Bowmaster are hell of a squeeze. Opponent drew Ponder, cast it, shuffled with it, and did not find what they were looking for. Cool. Double Bowmaster, solo. A bunch of Thoughtseizes there. Thoughtseize is the card that got me off of a blue-white control deck and onto a Dimir tempo deck for Eternal Weekend. Like the Pokemoki Blink deck was something I was really interested in, but getting Thoughtseized over and over and losing all my good cards while they made a perfect game plan, I just wanted to be on that side, and here we go. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw for round 2 with a beautiful, perfect mana, Thoughtseize Interact. Opponent says, hi Bosh and YouTube. Everyone say hi to Pew Pew 444. They're on a Multa 6 with a Flooded Strand. Am I going to be Thoughtseized? Am I the Thoughtseize? Yeah, play draw matters a lot in this format. Thoughtseize my Thoughtseize. Not suspicious at all. Right, Force of Will gives me a little bit of breathing room. I'm actually just not even interested in basic lands here. I don't have to be. I'm interested in applying pressure. If they are Reanimator, they have to thread together Entomb Reanimate with enough life to still cast Reanimate. If they spend energy here wastelanding me, I can live with that. Right, if this is a tempo mirror, that is a little bit annoying, but it's fine. Okay, if I attack first, they can't really block because any instant kills Tamiyo. Yep, there it goes, straight through. Second Swamp, or basic Swamp this time. Second Nethergoyf. They don't know about Force of Will. That's the mystery in my hand, but it's a powerful mystery to conceal. Tamiyo's doing stuff. Can't block. They pass the turn, representing Orcish Bowmaster here. You never want to be the first Bowmaster on the board, though. So my Bowmaster is better than theirs right now. And they do have a draw engine running where I don't, but they're taking damage where I'm not. This is actually pretty interesting. And if I knew whether they were Reanimator or Tempo, more information would be available to me to plan this game out, but I don't know that stuff. Didn't crack Clue in the end step, didn't do anything with their mana for a whole turn cycle is really illuminating to me. That means they're scared of Bowmaster. Nile Spellbomb. Okay, they're not Reanimator. Alright, I was gonna fetch Surveil this turn. I guess I still am. I have another fetch in my hand, but I can't get Basic Island. Alright, that's fine. I'll just play on Underground Seas from here on out. Wasteland. Love that. Put that on top. The opponent is fetching right now. Playing around Stifle. Okay, no, they just want to draw a card before I can Spellbomb them. That's fine. Or before I can Bowmaster the Spellbomb. That puts those back to 0, but I have Ponder Wasteland to get them back up to where they're dealing damage. And Thoughtseize. Or Nile Spellbomb. Fascinating. Okay. Would I rather Thoughtseize them and hit them for less? Yes. Fully, yes. Alright, this Force of Will looks bad, but it usually does in Tempo mirrors. It is Tempo. Alright. Kaito, I am not worried about because I have Wasteland. Brainstorm does Tamiyo stuff. Fatal Push kills one of my Nethergoyfs, but only for a little while. Alright. I'm going to take Brainstorm. I'm going to Wasteland. I'm going to hit them for 4. And I'm drawing Nile Spellbomb next turn, which isn't actually that good, but it does make my Nethergoyfs bigger. Ooh, Nethergoyf from the top rope. That card would be good if I wasn't drawing Nile Spellbomb this turn anyway, which becomes a lethal spell with my Orcish Bowmaster. Sick. All right. Fetch. See. Bowmaster. I know their hand. There's not a lot I have to worry about right now. This is the sequence of dealing damage and exiling their graveyard that results in a dead Nethergoyf. And now they have to decide, or no, it's not even a decision. They're dead. They have to push Nethergoyf. They have to leave Bowmaster in play. We got a Rude in the chat. Yeah, I mean, Spellbomb is really good in all Dimirers, whether they have Reanimate or not. Yep, and just scooping to that. They could push Nethergoyf, go to 3, and have Tamiyo and the inability to draw cards, or they could just die. Sure. Sweet. This is definitely a Twisted Image matchup. I'm excited for that. Just bringing in all my removal, taking out my Force of Wills. Nothing in this matchup is worth 2 cards. There it is. Let's do it. Okay, hand is nice in the mirror. Gonna keep. I can kill the first couple creatures. Sometimes Land Screw is a big part of these mirrors. Tamiyo, Twisted Image, come on. Okay, do I think they have Daze in their hand is the only question here. I guess I can follow up with Shieldred's Edict if they do. And this is where I would like to be. I don't actually think Daze is good in these mirrors. There's the first 1 or 2 turns, and it's, of course, exacerbated if you're on the play, where that card is actually good, and then it falls off quickly. Like, I only have 1 in my deck right now, and if I had another removal spell on the sideboard, I would have 0. I do value the Wasteland here, because that can just screw in this matchup so cleanly. I'm not worried about Wasteland. Getting my Tamiyo Thoughtseize means I'm once again sitting here with 2 removal spells in hand. Dumping Netherglyph's interesting. That might mean they're looking for a land. It might mean they're trying to fill their graveyard. It might mean they're already planning for the long game in that Netherglyph can come back from the graveyard. I'm holding 2 answers to Murktide Regent, one of which they've seen off of the Thoughtseize. Wasteland, yeah, I'm ready for this game. They've seen a handful of lands from me. I'm not going to start fetching basics. I'm going into the sewer, trying to find gas. Netherglyph is gas. I'm going to choose to put it in my hand. Because I'm not playing... Well, I'm playing the long game, but I'm also playing the immediately apply pressure game. I like both of those games. All right, Fatal Push. That was worth a card. The opponent dumping that into the graveyard in one way is worth a card, because they didn't use their draw step to get it, and it will someday be a spell they can cast. I used my draw step to get it, but I got a card out of their hand. All right, yeah, they're just bombing me now, taking their card draw. Nile Spellbomb's such a nice one. They probably should have done that in their main phase if they were going to do it, because, like, what if they drew Thoughtseize just now? Because one of us drew Thoughtseize just now. All right, Kaito, Bowmaster, Edict. Kaito's a lot worse if Bowmaster's not there to feed it. And I do have Edict in my hand. If they can Thoughtseize me, hit a land drop, and then cast Kaito, it starts to become problematic. I'm just going to take this Bowmaster. That's a lot of things that have to go right before I need to live in fear. And that means they can never Wasteland me, because then they need 5 lands this game. Oh no. Alright, well, game on, I guess. I suspect I will lose Shieldred's Edict here, but Brazen Borrower would make some sense as well. Okay, we're in the dregs. This is what tempo mirrors look like post-board. From the top rope. Ka-chow. Take out that Netherglyph. I don't want to see that shit around. I will draw a card. My own Kaito. Okay, if they shove Kaito this turn, that is of mild concern, but I have Brazen Borrower that can pressure it. Okay, we got away. Got away with it. What if I shove Kaito this turn? We've seen the Shieldred's Edict. Bowmaster. That's not the card I wanted to see, but it is the card that makes me glad I didn't shove Kaito. Fatal Push, Bowmaster, and I am going to Petty Theft the Orc Army. I know you have Kaito. I'm not just going to wait till combat to do the same thing. Okay, Hardcast Kaito is live here. I can also Hardcast Kaito, but they can remove my Kaito. Yeah, they're actually ahead right now. And they did emblem that, which means if I Hardcast Kaito, they can clear it. I need a threat here. Ponder. Okay. Murktide, Tamiyo, Brazen Borrower. Murktide just gets stunned, but I can do that over multiple turns. Or no, I can't, because I have to play Brazen Borrower this turn. Yeah, it has to be Tamiyo, because that's the one that sequences with what I'm doing. That's also the one that enables Kaito the best. All right, I'm doing all my fetching now, so I don't incidentally turn on Kaito to surveil before combat. And I can't play Brazen Borrower, because then they could Edict first. I sack one, and they stun whichever one I didn't sack. I want them to have to not stun one of my creatures, or let me sack the creature they do stun. All right, the surveils are happening. We're starting to fall behind, but the game is still interesting. Top, that's terrifying. Baraglyph, hate that guy. All right, end step, Brazen Borrower. They've tapped out of Edict here. Ugh. All right. Well, I'm going to attack. I could kill Kaito. Yeah, I mean, that's what I got to do. I got to kill Kaito and stun Baraglyph. That's the game I have to play. I can also flip Tamiyo this turn. No, I can't, because they won't have lost life. And I need to stun. There's so many reasons I can't do this. Okay. I guess I could draw first and see if I spike Fatal Push. Wasteland. Do I care about Wasteland? Not more than Tamiyo. It's done Barragoyf. Play Tamiyo. Have to assume I'm going to get Edicted here on my Planeswalker. Doing it on my turn doesn't work because it's a creature, not a Planeswalker on my turn, and I can just sack Brazen Borrower. Brainstorm. High impact plays showing up here in the late game. But I do have a Tamiyo active. It's already drawn one card. They hit a land, 2 cards in hand. Something like Bowmaster Edict is really good here. Another Barragoyf's okay. Edict, my Planeswalker away. Been bracing for that for 3 turns. It's done. We've both worked through our Kaitos. What's that last card? Murktide. That one's pretty good. Alright, deck. Help me out. Doesn't really help me out. I think I have to shove in here. And I'm going to draw a card before blocks, just in case I find something that answers Murktide. Now they have to decide to deal with Kaito, or deal with Tamiyo or take damage. This attack also telegraphs Kaito because it's so desperate, but I'm actually just desperate. I'm not telegraphing anything. Yeah, that Murktide is 1 point too big for Bowmaster to finish it off. Start wasting their lands. Barragoyf wakes up next turn. I am pretty far behind at this point. If they just jam off like a dirty Brainstorm or something, I'm not even going to float mana. I'm going to make it look like I have nothing. I'm at 4. Can't play around anything here. I'm like just dead. I got Brainstorm giving me 2 removal spells, so lets me play. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I want the clue. That's happening. And there's only 1 creature without flying, so I'm going to push the damage I can push. And then Brainstorm, find the goods. I am a little bit short here, so if I put back Nethergoyf, or how can I still do stuff? I'd have to fetch, crack my clue, hit a removal spell for Murktide, which means I have to put away Barragoyf. Yeah, 1 life too low for Tamiyo to be helpful. Fetch. I think I have 1 fetchable left in the deck. Sure do. I crack a clue looking for Brazen Borrower. Or my own Murktide. Shit. Right, well, I will give them the opportunity to attack Tamiyo instead of me. But they've won the game. 1 flying creature too many. Yeah, there's no reason to attack Tamiyo here. If I lose the game, Tamiyo is also not a problem for you anymore. Alright, GG's. I could have left back Tamiyo, block Brainstorm on their turn, but I think I like going for it there. Right, my plan doesn't change on the player draw. I just get to go first. Alright, let's go. That was a great game, though. I value mana more than basically anything in this mirror match. And I'm going to distract them with Underground Sea because I can afford to be wastelanded. Wow, look at this. Pile of bangers. If I get Thought Seized, I would want them to take Dismember from me. Though they would probably take Barragoyf if they Thought Seized here. But I'm hiding Tamiyo and Fatal Push on top of the deck. I like all those cards. That's not a wasteland. That is an island. Okay. So I will get to play Tamiyo here. Unfortunately, I don't really want to ponder though, so I'm going to leave a mana unused, just not even crack this Polluted Delta. Tamiyo. I wonder if they're on the Twisted Image tech. It is out on the internet. I've seen it. Eco Bronin has posted lists with it. I've seen people like reply to some of my tweets with pictures of Twisted Image. And that's one of those cards that you really want to be the one with the tech and you don't want them to have the tech. But if we both have the tech, it kind of washes out. And whoever actually lines it up is going to be so far ahead. Here we go, Wasteland. That's why I gave them the Underground Sea to go after. Now I have an uncontested Tamiyo here. Gets a whole turn to operate. Right, get in there, Tamiyo. Now I do care about my mana, so I will fetch an island and cast this Ponder. The first one was bait. These ones I actually need to play the game. Nile Spellbound, Fatal Push, Underground Sea. Once again, I like all of these cards. I think I'm going to hide the Nile Spellbomb underneath, and I'll draw the Fatal Push. Underground Sea is the least urgent of these cards. And if my opponent just goes, like, fetch Murktide here, I guess Dismember is good enough. Just good enough to get that. Flooded Strand cannot get Basic Swamp. They're going to be open to Wasteland here if they want to keep playing the game. Which, presumably, they do. I'm going to attack first. Get these clues in the bank. And as much as I wish I could walk them into this wasteland somehow. And it's not like they can play around it. There are no legal fetchables basics in their deck for that Flooded Strand. They just might not go for the Surveilland here, which would have been their plan otherwise. B-Storm. All right. I do not have a Bowmaster to punish that. I think my plan here is if they fetch, waste them, and then crack Spellbomb all still in the end step off of Basic Swamp. That plays around Murktide the best. And if they don't fetch, I'll just bomb in their upkeep. I could even do it in the draw step. That all opens up Bowmaster, though. All right, they've passed priority to me. I am going to Spellbomb them now. Yeah, that can just happen. That's fine. Keep Murktide off my back. The Wasteland's still there if they fetch. I couldn't afford to fetch. We'll see if they hit a land drop here and move forward. Okay, waste my waste gets them out from underneath here. I'll waste their fetch, force the issue. Yeah, we both end up down a land. It's just nobody lost a colored source on that exchange. That is a clever way to use Wasteland. And now, despite me doing stuff the whole game and them not really doing stuff the whole game, we both have 7 cards in hand. We both have 2 lands. I have Tamiyo to their not Tamiyo, but something as simple as a Fatal Push here evens up the board. And then we play on where, I guess I technically have 9 cards in hand if the game goes long enough. Now they're doing stuff. It's a lot of Fatal Pushes. I would like a taste of that hand, so I know what I have to play through. If they have their next land drop, and I do not, I don't like that. I can kill this Nethergoyf. I am worried about Murktide. Kaito is in... I have enough removal to fend off Kaito for kind of a very long time. Yeah, I think Murktide is my problem here. Okay, I'm taking Murktide. I'm also just eating shit on this Nethergoyf. With the Dismember and tough land drop to miss here. Here they can play Nethergoyf and represent Bowmaster, and that's so many things to navigate under Kaito. I need to draw a Swamp. Yeah, now I am having mana problems. Oh my god, they have Dismember too? Alright, sure. Well, that's fine. I was way more worried about the Kaito coming my way than I am about them rolling out another Nethergoyf that I can Fatal Push for the rest of my life. Alright, well, I have to push this. We're just working through it. Oh no, did you draw Murktide? Stop. Oh no, I drew Brazen Borrower. I don't care. Oh, you're just replaying Nethergoyf. Yeah, that's fine. That's like Murktide, but smaller and less horrifying. Brainstorm. That's always, always welcome. Hit the land. Good news, everybody. I'm going to hide Kaito on top. Hide Kaito and Murktide. I'm a long way off of Kaito here. Alright, Fatal Push. They did just get a card off me there. Their creature came back from the graveyard, and I had to spend a card from my hand on it. But now they're down to 2 card types in the graveyard. Murktide is really small if they draw one. Okay, top of my deck is Murktide right now. What can I present that is scary enough that they back off of Bowmaster? I guess Murktide is just the answer to that question. All right, fetch. Shove Murktide. I know they have Edict, but they can't Edict and Bowmaster and Kaito all this turn cycle. They have to pick somewhere. Instant, instant, sorcery, sorcery, and there's another instant. All right, I can make this full size without losing any card types. Barrogoyf cares about that eventually. Nethergoyf cares about that eventually. Edict. Okay, they're playing defense. I like that when I know that they have the capability of some horrifying offense. And now Barrogoyf is able to party. Okay, they're sneaking a Spellbomb through here. That made Barrogoyf a little bit smaller. Hitting the land's annoying. All right, come on, deck. Land for Barrogoyf. Let's just shove it right now. Brainstorm. I'm digging. Keep navigating just under that Bowmaster we know they have. Brazen Borrower is kind of good. Bowmaster answers their Bowmaster. Borrower is good against specifically Murktide and nothing else. Sucks I have to put back 2 here. I think I'm going to put back Brazen Borrower and Brainstorm, and then crack a Clue all in the main phase. Just trying to get paid while Bowmaster is sleeping. I redrew Brainstorm anyway. That's the one I would have liked to keep, but I also know it's a liability. Nethergoyf. Another one. So this is that turn that they could have presented a million turns ago, but decided to do something else, which is just like hit me with multiple guys. Right. Fatal Push your Goyf. And I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm not going to wasteland here until after my Bowmaster resolves. If they end step Bowmaster, I'll Bowmaster theirs, and then I'll wasteland them. I just don't want to get dazed right now. My Bowmaster. We're in there. Kill that. Then waste you. Okay. All right. Pretty good exchanges all around. Now they don't even have 3 mana to Kaito. This attack can only mean they have another Bowmaster, which means I'm not going to block. A Fatal Push. Interesting. But I'll take it. I do have another Bowmaster. Someone's gotta. All right, the big Barrow Dad. Did I get dazed after all this time? No, I did not. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Untapped with Barrowgoyf. This is usually how this matchup starts to devolve into nonsense. I will Thoughtseize you and hopefully see a hand that does not stop what I'm doing. Your own Goyf, Fatal Push, 2 Kaitos. So 3 3-drops and a Fatal Push that's currently off. I will take the Fatal Push because I plan on turning it on here. And I am going to push with Bowmaster because I want Barrowgoyf to connect. All right, big game. They're dead in 2 hits. If they draw a land here, they can put Barrowgoyf between me and my goals. I just drew a Murktide, Tamiyo, or Nethergoyf. I'll take the Murktide. We got the GGs. All right, cool. Yeah, the mirror is either an awesome back and forth slugfest of little decisions that ultimately result in somebody having a Barrowgoyf or Murktide left over at the end of the dust, or a Kaito, or somebody gets wastelanded into crap and the game is not competitive. And is like, you saw me in both sideboard games just keep like 4 lands, 5 lands, and if we dodge the don't get wastelanded into crap phase of the game, then we're almost guaranteed access to the other phase of the game because the Barrowgoyf, Murktide, Kaito stuff happens slower. It's not like a Delver Mirror where you keep 5 lands and just die on turn 3. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. I recognize my opponent's username as a like Elves Cradle Control kind of gamer. These are real mana problems here. If any of these lands make blue, I'm in, but they don't, so I'll mulligan. No, the opposite. Okay. 19 land deck, you're going to have some hands that don't quite work. 19 lands and 4 of them are colorless. We're down to 5. Here we go. Definitely keeping. I think I'm going to scrap Basic Island, and it might be Force of Will. It sucks, but it's a 2-for-1, and I am holding Daze. All right, Nethergoyf, get after it. Daze falls off quick if they are on the Cradle Control deck. Oh, this might be some Nadu business. I'm going to Daze this thing. This makes my Wastelands better, and Daze gets worse if they have Noble Hierarch. A Ponder grows the Goyf, do that pre-combat. Sick. All right. Bowmaster likely to find a home. I already have a Brainstorm, so I'd rather have a second Nethergoyf to push. All right, let's see what's going on over there. All right, looks like they're just playing regular old Nadu. All right, well, it's not regular. It's Weird Nadu. But Weird Nadu, confirmed. Frenzied Baloth can't be countered. Damage can't be prevented. I'm going to Brainstorm here. I don't think I'm going to need 2 Bowmasters this game, and Ponder's better than Brainstorm when my hand is small. This Fetch grows the Goyf. Play the Regoyf. I am bigger than Frenzied Baloth, large and in charge, ready to die to Endurance. Shaman Encore. I can't kill that. It is both a 1-2, and they could redirect the damage to Baloth, so Orcish Bowmaster not helping. Combat damage can't be prevented. Okay. Frenzied Baloth does not interact with this damage redirection. That's also not preventing damage, it's putting it somewhere else. Okay, they've invested in big Nadu games. I'm looking for Fatal Push and found one. Don't shuffle, play Underground Sea, attack. And I guess I'm supposed to wait. This gives them an extra draw to find Force of Will. But if they don't have the Nadu right now, I'd rather hold Fatal Push and develop Bowmaster. If they have to brainstorm here, I get all sorts of juice. Shaman has weird interlocking abilities here. It has the Nomad ability of redirecting damage from it to something else, but it also has this 1 and a white ability to direct damage from something else to it. So it could slurp damage from something to it, and then redirect the damage from it to something else. So you could basically, for an extra 2 mana, turn all your creatures into Shaman and Core. All right, that thing dies to Bowmaster. Patience rewarded. Ooh. Can I roast their whole squad with Bowmaster here? Take out Quirion Ranger. Yeah, they have to decide if they want to untap one of their blockers here. Yeah, this one doesn't die in combat, even if I double block it. If I double block Frenzied Baloth, it dies. Like, if I double block Shaman, they put a damage on Baloth, a damage on Oof. Nothing happens. If I double block Baloth, Baloth dies. But I'm attacking back for less. I guess creature spells can't be countered as pretty significant text. Alright, I will just 2-for-1 their team. Oh, these Goyfs are lethal. So they actually have to block. And then... Okay, yeah. So they have to block one of these, and then I can Fatal Push whatever's left. If they have Endurance, I can make the Goyfs 2-power again after combat. Yes, they made the block that makes sense. And I will pass the turn. They didn't have Nadu last turn when it was uncounterable. And they still need Force backup if they have Nadu now. Alright, well, this looks like Green Sun Zenith. So I will push Shaman now, and then Force Blue card might still make a game out of this. Okay, interesting. So they didn't have Force Blue card, but Zenith for 3's on the stack. This isn't Nadu on the stack. They could have gotten Endurance, put my Goyfs back to little, and kept playing this game. Am I to read that as they don't have Endurance in this deck? Or that they missed it, or that they don't think that was good enough? Those are the possibilities. The Quirion Ranger build is the build of Nadu that doesn't really have Tamiyo in it. Both Breakfast and Midrange have moved on to it. Dread of Night finally getting some action. Engineered Explosives. All the removal, of course. The big creatures. I don't need Nile Spellbombs in this matchup. Daze is pretty bad, especially on the draw. Nether Goyf gets gummed up pretty easily, but I mean, that was an excellent Nether Goyf game. Just turn 1 Nether Goyf, relentless pressure, had a friend join it, and I basically just cast 1 removal spell that game. I dazed their turn 1 play, and then Fatal Push something later, and otherwise Nether Goyfs did it. Alright, this is what I'm going with. More removal. Still respecting that they're a combo deck with Force of Will. Yeah, this is kind of the Elves build of Nadu, not Breakfast or even Midrange. Yikes. I do like Thoughtseize Edict Bowmaster. All those are good, but that does require me to draw a land. 1 of 18 cards. I have 2 looks at 18 out of 53. I don't like that. I'm going to mulligan. The last game I mulled a 5 and won just fine, so we make up for card quantity with card quality. I'm going to keep this and put Murktide on the bottom because it's the farthest away from helpful right now. Quirion Ranger. I am not going to Fatal Push that because there are cards in their deck that do die to Bowmaster, and there are cards that don't. And that one does die to Bowmaster if I'm able to be patient. And this doesn't ramp on its own. You generally want to play a Mana Dork first, then turn 2 Quirion Ranger to untap it. Right, well, Tamiyo just gives me action here. I'm playing on Underground Seas. They're not coming for my lands. I'm actually kind of regretting this fetch. I think I'm supposed to actually pass with Fatal Push up, or whatever they play this turn. Yeah, like losing out on the fetch was pretty dumb, but they can't play a 3-drop here unless they have something like Spirit Guide. All right, there is a Shaman Encore. That's why I saved the Fatal Push. All right, so my goal here is for them to untap with no creatures in play, which also means Cradle doesn't make mana. That's cooked. Yeah, I definitely messed up that sequencing. Luckily, like if they had a Noble Hierarch instead of a Quirion Ranger on turn 1, I could have been really punished by that. But I didn't compound a mistake. That's an important thing. Once I put the fetch land on the stack and I realized that I should have done something else, I didn't fully commit to the Tamiyo, which is a common error people make. to either save face or sunk cost fallacy or whatever reason they do the things they do. Don't make a second mistake because you're embarrassed about the first one. Wow. All right. They basically have a Savannah in play right now and know their action, and they passed with no play. And now I can go Tamiyo straight into Brainstorm, or Tamiyo bank the Brainstorm in case Swords to Plowshares is something they're sitting on. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. Plow me, daddy. Ew. Noble Hierarch. Okay, now they have green mana again, but I have another Bowmaster. I'm actually going to end step Brainstorm right now for velocity. This will flip Tamiyo, and I'll just activate her on my turn. Wow, all right. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Yeah, these decks are very powerful when their mana gets rolling, and when their mana is not rolling, holy moly, they're bad. The card I have to think about right now is Veil of Summer. Like, I could waste the Cradle, see if they float mana, pass through phases, make sure the Hierarch's dead, or I could just rip off this Bowmaster, hit the Hierarch, waste the Savannah, and take my medicine if Veil of Summer is what they got. Yeah, I'm going to do that, because I can still waste the Cradle, even if they Veil, and then they'll untap with 2 mana. I would prefer they untap with 0, but I'm going to do what I can here. I'm not going to play around the worst imaginable thing they might have when I'm this far ahead, and give them a window to sneak back in. All right, now they have functionally no permanents in play. Tamiyo's active. I would be impressed if I lose this game. A lot would have to go wrong in a row, so I have access to at least 2 fatal pushes. I'm actually going to Brainstorm here. Thoughtseize is good, Ponder's good, another land's good for Barrowgoyf. I found Thoughtseize and Ponder, just hitting all the goods, playing the hits. See what's going on over there. Are they close to anything? 2 plows, Prismatic Ending, Allosaurus Shep. Okay, well, I'll take one of the plows, I guess. I should have taken Prismatic Ending. Tamiyo is a permanent. All right, well, they got there. So they can remove Tamiyo, who isn't killing them, or they can start working on the orcs that are killing them. And yeah, I could have taken that Prismatic Ending, and the game might look different. Does the clock change here if I do an extra damage now? They take 4 and then 6 versus 6 and then another 6. All right, the clock is the same, but I know they have a 1-drop in hand, so I'm going to be able to kill Allosaurus Shep if they develop it, and I'll just replace my army if they do something else. Birds of Paradise. Okay. They look pretty dead to me. All right, so 1.5 mistakes that game. That fetch on turn 1 before mapping out my hand correctly was a mistake, but I was able to recover it, and then not taking Prismatic Ending because of Tamiyo was the second mistake, was the full mistake. But this wall of black removal and wastelands picked apart the deck that needs a bunch of mana to function and never really got off the ground. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. My lands are set up and I can move cards around. Survive a turn 1 force situation. In paper, my off-color fetches are the ones that are a bug. So having Bloodstained Mire and Floodstrand in this deck, even though they're exactly the same as Verdant Catacombs and Misty Rainforest, is skeezing me out a little bit. I just copied this from the mana base, at least I copied from Eco Baronin. It truly, truly doesn't matter, but as someone who is known for playing various bug decks and Uro decks, if I can get half a point of bluff out of anyone by having Misty Rainforest instead of Flooded Strand. I should be leaning into that, so I will update my Mox Field list for Eternal Weekend beforehand. Fatal Push is good, but I really don't want another land. Okay, opponent has taken a mulligan. I will bank my basic island and float Fatal Push on top, and then we'll see what happens here. Or I should have drawn Bloodstained Mire there. No, it doesn't matter. The only reason it would matter is if I need to Wasteland, but Wasteland is not Bloodstained Mire either, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Well, I'm gonna Wasteland them. Or, what if I don't? Yeah, I should Wasteland them here. There is unfortunately just no playing around that. Are they gonna draw a card with Kozilek's Command? I would love to see a Kozilek's Command spent on draw a card, just cycle it. Cool, deal. They drew a card. It's one of the most powerful cards they play, no longer in their hand. All right, Wastelanding me. I'll float a blue. I'm not going to cast Brainstorm, though. I know I'm got plenty of lands. I'm set up forever here. Swamp and Undercity Sewer are the two lands I would fetch this turn, and Bloodstained Mire gets both of them. Ancient Tomb. All right, I would like to start pressuring this opponent. Eldrazi is a sleeper choice for Eternal Weekend. This deck has a really good win rate. It's been creeping up in the play rate as well. Couldn't be me, but, you know, if you're into that sort of thing, the deck is fine. Found a Ponder, but I'm going to use Brainstorm. My hand needs more than one card's worth of help. Oh, jeez. All right. Oh, jeez, Rick. I don't like that, but I will take the Wasteland, and we've basically played turn 1 of this game 4 times now. City of Traders. Okay. That's not the land you play when you have other lands in your hand. A Ponder's going to look at a land I put back and then 2 fresh ones. Kaito. Am I interested in Kaito? I don't think so. This is a full shuffle. And pass. Force of Will is ready. Fatal Push and City of Traders can deal with most things between them. Yeah, that's one of the few cards they had there that would have been worth a force, but I am glad to be rid of it. And I don't normally fetch too thin, but I actually just really, really don't want to draw lands here. And I have other fetch lands banked up. Drew lands anyway. That can happen. Screw beats Flood in Magic the Gathering, so if my opponent starts hitting land drops and casting spells, this can spiral out for me. I have flooded out after a pretty good start. All right, just passing with City of Traders. That's a real one. Okay. Play another Delta and invest in Tamiyo. Now they got to do stuff. In this spot, they can pretty safely ignore Brainstorm. Like if they have a Kozilek's Command and they're like, you know, what if I just save the thing? All right, the Line Breaker, I don't care about. I'm ready for that guy. Fetch. I'll get basic Swamp just in case. Fatal Push. And now Tamiyo. Carry me home. Get me out of this flood. Tamiyo's going to flip this turn. That's nice. We're in one of those weird spots where I'm not even sure if flipping her is better than drawing 2 cards a turn, but I am going to take what's given to me. All right, Bloodstained Mire. Something that's not a land, perhaps. All right, Nethergoyf. I will take that. That is as big as many of their threats. Right, I am officially out of fetchable lands. There's a good chance Tamiyo just minuses for Brainstorm next turn. 7 cards over there is a scary number. If they like float mana, play Eldrazi Temple, start doing stuff, it could crumble. Wow, okay. All right, the double Wasteland game did enough. Eldrazi. Consigned Memories come in. Engineered Explosives can blow up Chalice of the Void and various Eldrazi spawns. Barrowgoyf is a unit, of course. Children's Edict and Dismember. Daze kind of stinks. Nile Spellbomb, irrelevant. Thoughtseize is powerful early in the game, but sucks really bad later. And it's something that gets locked out by Chalice. And all of my other cards are just pretty good at what they do. And by process of elimination, Thoughtseize goes here. Consigned Memory is like Thoughtseize that they have to spend 4 mana before I reveal. The No-Lander's got to go. I will keep this one. And I think Orcish Bowmaster is the worst card in this hand. Wasteland. Interesting. Can I draw a basic island? No, I drew a Wasteland of my own. I'm just going to play Bloodstained Mire and pass back here. I think Wasteland is actually worse for them than it is for me. Eldrazi Temple. Do they have a 3-drop, or are we leaving up Wasteland for a turn? Do they have Chalice of the Void? They do have Chalice. Oh, that's not a card I can reasonably defeat, so I will force pitching Brainstorm. Let Tamiyo do her thing here. And I'm getting Undercity Sewer because I need blue off of this Bloodstained Mire to cast Tamiyo anyway, and my plan is to Wasteland them. Force of Will. That will someday be okay. I am going to hold on to it. It is an investment in the future. Future that I don't know if I'm going to have, but let's fight. And now they probably need their mana more than I do. I'd be surprised if they Wasteland me here, unless they can kill Tamiyo also. Eye of Ugin. Glaring Fleshraker is pretty good. How many more spells are being cast this turn? Please 0, please 0. Like a Lotus Petal could just shit their hand out right now. If I can get to the Sheoldred's Edict without being miles behind on board, I'll feel okay about things. Okay, they just passed to me. Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Let's get that thing out of there. We love a no-value Glaring Fleshraker. Still 4 cards in their hand, though, and Eye of Ugin could drop the bombs. Secluded Courtyard. The Line Breakers are online now. I don't mind a Thought-Knot Seer that much here. Kozilek's Command's always miserable. That card's pretty miserable. And I've got Brazen Borrowers, Engineered Explosives, just cards that cost more. That's one of the better cards in my deck. We've got a weird little standoff going here. And you can power through Chalice of the Void with Consign. I can either pitch Consign to force, or I could replicate Consign enough times that I don't care that the base copy gets countered. Lotus Petal. As long as Cavern of Souls doesn't join the party here. Okay. I am going to cast with Replicate. The base copy will be countered. This is actually funny because I have 2 options here. I can copy the Chalice trigger that's countering Consign, or I could just counter the Eldrazi Linebreaker again. I'm going to counter the Linebreaker again, though it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Style points. All right, go to my turn. Any blue card backs me up with Force. This second fetch land flips my Tamiyo. All right, land, activate Clue. A blue source, or a blue card, not a blue source. Kind of a different thing. I'll get my basics. There is a Wasteland sitting in play. I don't want to just like randomly die if they draw 2 more of them. All right, Tamiyo, get to work. Brazen Borrower can clear the Chalice, or it can be blue for Force of Will. Tamiyo can rebuy Consign, which gets me another turn in the bank. Then a second Wasteland, look at that. Look at me with my basics in play. They're really far away from activating Eye of Ugin, which is the terrifying next phase of the game. They're comfortable using one of the Wastelands. If they're just jamming off all the Wastelands, that makes me feel like their hand is bad, and they're just trying to stay alive. Wastecape Battle Mage. Exiling my Clue token. Okay, my Clue token's in exile. This attacks for 1 a turn. Alright, I'm gonna ignore that and let Tamiyo do her thing. Tamiyo does still net 1 per turn, and my opponent is currently pretty shitty on mana, if I do say so myself. And I can bounce Chalice in the end step, push Ponder, be where I need to be. Ancient Tomb. Battle Mage in for 1. End step, I'm going to Petty Theft this Chalice. It makes my hand from very mediocre to very good. Opponent's in check. Tamiyo's on 7. I'm actually not going to cast this Ponder, but this does unlock Fatal Push, which leaves Tamiyo at 7. They need Cavern plus Payoff in their 3-card hand, where one of the cards is Chalice of the Void right now. Fatal Push. And we're done. Tamiyo locking it down. 2-0 versus Eldrazi feels good. Just having big creatures and a coherent sideboard plan. On to the final trophy round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final trophy round. Opponent has kept 7. I've got this double force, 1 land situation. I'm going to keep. I kind of hope this is a matchup that's about spells and not about Wasteland, due to, the fact that I have double force and only 1 land that I can't get basic island with. We'll see. They've revealed Aluris as their avatar, not in their deck. Luckily, that would make this round really easy, because they would be disqualified. Volcanic Island. Bummer. Alright, well, that's the worst outcome. would have been pretty stoked for Sneak and Show, actually. However, being under the gun to a Delver, not ideal. The Wasteland is not bad, but the Force and Nile Spellbomb are so bad that I can't consider this. I'm going to shuffle this. Alright, cool. Now I have access to my basics. My mana problem solved, but this is just not a matchup you want 2 Force Wills in your hand for. Oof. Okay, they're pushing here. This is an aggressive decision using Brainstorm in a spot where you can't shuffle to try to push Delver a little harder. And Delver is extremely likely to flip here. Feeling Force of Will, okay. If they think I'm Reanimator, it might make sense to just beat my life total up. But if they knew I was Dimir Tempo, and that I can't combo them out, they might have saved that Brainstorm to be higher impact at some point. Yeah, this is just one of those games that if you have a Fatal Push, you're miles ahead, can never lose. But I don't have a Fatal Push, and because of that, I am in some dire straits. I feel okay until around 6 life. Like, 6 life is double bolt range, and that becomes horrible. Come on, Fatal Push. Hey! We love Fatal Push. All my homies love Fatal Push. Okay, I'm going to pass into their turn. The fact that they were so aggressive about their Delver probably means that we're going to have a showdown around this. Fatal Push that. 13 is a healthy life total. If we start forcing back and forth, at 3 lands, this Daze looks kind of mid. But if they do something like Ponder and then Murktide, that could wake back up. If I find a Wasteland at some point, it could wake back up. I don't think I need 2 Murktides this game. Okay, well. Alright, they didn't fight over Delver, so they probably have something like Core Steel Cutter or a Murktide that they're saving that Force of Will for. Okay, they have bobbled yourself. Alright. Took me a second to figure out who they were bobbling. Alright, well, no additional play, did not shuffle away the card there. I could cast Murktide Region right now. Alright, I'm going to fetch a basic island and go for it. It'll be 5/5. That's big enough that it doesn't die to Lightning Bolt. If I get Force Blue card out of this, I don't think I'm going to fight back. I'll just take my 2 for 1 and continue moving forward, develop the Kaito. Okay, that Force of Will still on blocking duty. Whatever their plan is for that, they think it's better than a 5/5. Thundering Falls. Mishra's Bauble to the graveyard. If they follow up with a Murktide, it can only be 4/4 right now. Unholy Heat. Yeah, that works. Alright, yeah. I'm not going to feed them a 2 for 1. I have another Murktide where that came from. Alright, you've got a Murktide. This one I do have to respond to. Force pitching Daze. This is probably what they were saving their Force for. Force pitching Daze also. And do I think Kaito or Murktide is a better follow-up here? Murktide could play around Daze. They just deleted a Daze. I would rather have Kaito in play between the two. Murktide would be 5/5. Alright, and I could play it right away. I will showdown with the Murktide. And if they somehow have another Force Blue card, my Murktide can challenge their Murktide in combat. Okay. They no longer have Delirium, but they can get it with this fetch land. Surgicling Murktide? Why the fuck is this in your deck? But okay, well, I'm getting smoked by this suspicious technology. Spiking the one other card. I think there are 2 Murktides in the deck. Alright. Well, that is weird. It's still a 1 for 1. They spent Surgical from their hand to get the Surgical from, or the Murktide from my hand. But that is insane RNG paying out suspicious technology. But that's fine. My deck's full of good draws. We'll figure it out. Like Tamio, Inquisitive Student. And Lightning Bolt is in the range of cards that might be in their hand. Reactive cards that I haven't really given them a chance to cast yet. Dragon's Rage Channeler that can become Delirious with a fetch land. Yeah, unless I draw Ponder, Tamio can't really attack here. Or a Fatal Push. There's the fetch. Delirium's online. Do they have another Murktide? Okay. Alright, so I gotta navigate Murktide. I have 2 Brazen Borrowers in my deck. There's another Kaito. Ponder flips Tamio, so I am gonna get to attack here. Bowmaster. Interesting. Do I want to go to 5? I guess is the question. I could have it all. Alright, I'm gonna try to have it all. I'm gonna put Brainstorm in my hand. And the plan here is block Murktide, flip Tamio, Bowmaster, kill Dragon's Rage Channeler, and I just have to hope they don't draw Daze or Lightning Bolt, pretty much. If they had any cards in their hand to start the sequence, I would be less into this. Okay, Wasteland matters a little bit. Yeah, it actually matters a lot. God, that sucks. Bowmaster's still on top of my deck. All right, it's fine. I still have to block flip, like doing anything pre-combat. This actually isn't even that bad. This is totally fine. All right, there's the block. Here's the flip. Bowmaster to my hand, which can kill Dragon's Rage Channeler. Several additional Tamios. I think I will keep one for blocking. All right, so I draw for turn, plus Tamio, fetch Swamp, kill Dragon's Rage Channeler, different Tamio, and pass. F6, we're all in. I have no more Murktide Reasons to save me. This Tamio can minus... They're going face. What does that mean for me? That means I don't have to lose my Tamio. It does put me into double bolt range. I'm going to roll the dice on that. I value Tamio and card flow here more than that. All right, Dragon's Rage Channeler, non-delirious. Yo, okay. Get back Ponder. I could get back Brainstorm, which does it all. Ponder could get me... All right, I'm going to get back Ponder, actually. I'd rather remove this Murktide. Right, that doesn't do it. Shuffle. All right. Might get smoked for my beliefs here. Fatal Push. Start pushing back. No! I accidentally clicked all attack. God damn it. Fuck. All right, that was a misclick. Well, okay, that was a weird game. So a misclick at the end, but this random dumbass surgical extraction in the main deck that also randomly spiked my second Murktide out of my hand. I think I win the game on the spot if I just keep Kaito, or if just, RNG, any other card in my deck is in my hand at that moment. All right, it's fine. Children's Edict, Barrogoyf, Engineered Explosives. Dismember is a tricky one, because in the late game, I can just cast it. I don't really want to take 4 in the early game. This deck usually has between 0 and 2 Tamios in it. I don't think I want that for that. All the Force of Wills are coming out. One of the Spell Bombs. One of the Dazes. I could probably go both Dazes out. All right, let's go. All right, well, that one got weird for a variety of reasons. I hope my opponent felt smart enough about that surgical that they don't board them out. Please put as many surgical extractions as you have in your deck right now. All right, basic island alongside a ton of black cards. I do like Nile Spellbomb and Wasteland in the matchup. I'm going to try this. This might be my trophy incinerating into the ground, but Brainstorm, Ponder, Tamio, Borrower, any black source, all good rips here. Island pass. Opponent's on 6. Hopefully that makes Wasteland better. Delver. Okay, well, we're doing the thing here of waste you, and hope you can't play the game, and hope that I can stabilize before this Delver kills me. Delver didn't flip, which might mean there's a land. It might also mean there is a Bauble or a Quarry Steel Cutter, any of the other things that it might mean. Come on, Swamp. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Murktide Regent. And that plays, kind of, eventually. Delver flipped, revealing Lightning Bolt. They have Wasteland for mana. Come on, Swamp. Brainstorm. Draw a Swamp. Kinda. Oh no, now I'm Brainstorm locked? Fuck my life. Undercity Sewers, specifically bad here. Alright, I guess I'll put... Yeah, I'm taking at least 8 damage now. Edit this as Underground Sea. It's easy. Dang. Alright, well that sucks really bad. I'll put back Murktide and Thoughtseize, and then Surveil away Thoughtseize. Yep, there's Wasteland. It's one of the spots where Ponder's a lot better than Brainstorm. Here's the lock. They have missed a land drop. I'm going to go to 7 here. I could still win this game if I find a Swamp. Come on, Swamp. Oh my god. Well, now I'm dead. Even if I find a Swamp, I'm dead to Bolt at any point. What a weird match. A shame to lose a trophy like this to a combination of just like the dumbest thing you've ever seen, followed by a misclick, followed by run bads. All right, well, we might be back in. I'm out 1. If they ever find any land, I'm dead. If they have Force of Will in their hand, I'm dead. I'll at least play around Force of Negation, which is all I can do. Push that. 7 cards in hand. Surely they don't do anything. All right, 1 down. All right, never draw a land. Never, ever draw a land in the entire game. Come on, deck. Brainstorm. Might as well play it, I guess. Not doing anything else here. Oh, wow, I can counter Lightning Bolt. We're pushing back, folks. All right, Kaito and Murktide back. Underground Sea. Pass the turn. Fatal Push in the upkeep. Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't draw land, don't draw land. Alright, I'm firing off the Spellbomb for the extra card. Holy shit. Get rid of that. They have to clean up again. Discarded Pyroblast. Kaito. I'm gonna go Nethergoyf. Pass. I'm not gonna play out this Spellbomb because that means that Volcanic Island Daze kills me. When I can beat Daze, I'm not gonna play into it. Oh my god, they're passing the turn again. I hope their hand is full of surgical extractions. Okay. Brainstorm. Pretty good. I'll cast that. Yikes. Pretty bad. Okay, well, we've got some work to do. I'm gonna put back Arctide and Kaito. Is that what we're doing here? Attack for 4. I can ponder to shuffle next turn, or I can roll the dice that they don't have Daze now. So if they miss on a red source, or if they don't have Daze, I have it covered. Okay, I think this is close enough and dire enough that I want to get this Spellbomb in. It looks like we faded again. I'm Spellbombing again. Just treading through. Discarded Ponder. I'll cast my Ponder. I can double my clock here, or I can shuffle, but I can't play a fetch land anyway. So they're currently on a 4-turn clock. I can make it 3. I'm going to shuffle this. Yes, all right. That was the good hit. Attack with Goyf. Play Tameo. And pass with Hydroblast up. Next turn I can play Barrogoyf with Hydroblast up, and if I connect with Barrogoyf, I win. All right, well, showdown time. How many bolts you got? Could be any number. Attacking. I mean, if they just have 2 bolts, I lose. I don't think there is anything clever to do here. And I could play around Daze and crack my Clue. Oh, they're dead next turn anyway. Okay, so the Barrogoyf doesn't change the clock. It's definitely correct to leave my mana up and the ability to redraw. Going for a tap land, that's so brave. That means they don't have 2 bolts. Okay, pass. Maybe I was supposed to use my Clue to try to find Wasteland. Bauble. I don't care about that, and I think they would have played it if they had it before now. Yeah, they need Force of Will to beat me. Counter target spell if it's red. That one. Daze. I'll pay. So they can replay this now and bolt me again. Oh wait, no, because it's a tap land. Okay. Oh my god, we won this game. That's crazy. Oh, they just dumped a Chain Lightning, so they definitely have another bolt. If they had just fetched Volcanic Island that turn, they win? Wow. Okay, Hydroblast was on top. You get to draw for that. They would need something like Fire Blast, but they don't have 2 mountains. Holy smokies. Okay, okay. Well, I mean, justified by the keep, at least. Like, the reason I was okay keeping that hand is because of how insane the hand becomes if I find a single black, and I have so many good hits. And, I mean, you can't script this stuff for the content. It came down to 1 life over many turns, but at the end of the day, unlocking black mana did win me the game. All right, that was crazy. We've seen Chain Lightning and Unholy Heat. That's a lot of burn. Still dubious of Dismember, but the mid-game value where you just take 2 or 0 instead of 4 casting this is what it's really about. It is not a good answer to a turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's a great answer to a turn 5 Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, my goal is to not be at bolt range. So like Force, not really interested. Yeah, that's what Hydroblast is for. Let's go. All right, game 3. The trophy run gets buoyed in the 11th hour. Okay, I've got mana. I have this ugly Dismember that I've shouted out a couple times, but I'm definitely keeping the hand. I have Island and Swamp of the basic variety available to me. Put them all to 5, that helps. That they'll probably come out of the gates comparably because that's what their deck does. But where the mull to 5 really matters is they're so unlikely to have force blue card to back up whatever they're doing, or they're just unlikely to have a second or third trigger of a Quarry Steel Cutter if they can trigger the first one. Ponder did not shuffle. Wasteland. Not a Wasteland. I am going to Ponder here. I don't want to dismember anything they could do this turn, so I'm just going to build out my mana. I'd like to see 3 non-lands. All right, cool. I will take 2 non-lands and a land I can shuffle away. Hydroblast kills Quarry Steel Cutter or Dragon's Rage Channeler, and Brainstorm moves all these bad cards in my hand around and makes them good cards. Dragon's Rage Channeler, that's covered. Okay, all of these can get Basic Swamp and Basic Islands already in play, so I'm going to play Delta to give myself the most options here. If they fetch, I'm just going to blast the Channeler, and they're probably going to get the tap land, so I'm going to let them resolve their Surveil thinking that they have a Channeler, and then I will inform them otherwise. I didn't want to play Hydroblast into Pyroblast, which is a card we've seen out of them. And I'm certainly not going to Brainstorm and then Hydroblast and let Daze be on here. Kept a card on top. All right. I will destroy Dragon's Rage Channeler. If they have Quarry Steel Cutter here, that would be unfortunate. Like, I could have waited to see what DRC does, but cool. I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp in my upkeep here. That shuffles away the land on top that I didn't want. We got a grip full of Kaitos, and I'm going to pass the turn. I don't want to Brainstorm into Pyroblast if I can avoid it. I can fully cast Dismember at this point, or I could take 2 to play around Daze. Oh, we're just going upstairs. This smells like a Murktide to me. Yep, follow your nose. Smells like a Murktide is a Murktide. I'll Brainstorm in response. They can't Pyroblast right now. Answer to Murktide. Put Undercity Sewers back in my deck. And do I need 2 Kaitos, or do I need 1 Engineered Explosives? 2 feels like a lot of Kaitos. All right, Murktide's in. I'm going to fetch that Surveil land I just put away. I can also just dismember this Murktide, paying the iron price. That's probably better. Make it all the way dead. I don't want this land. Ooh, Thoughtseize. I'm going to Thoughtseize and then decide what I need to do here. We know their hand is all spells because they missed a land drop. Force Daze. Okay. Well, I can go kind of all in here. I'm going to take the Daze and then Petty Theft. If they force Petty Theft, I can then take 5 to Dismember, and it's the same 5, or take 4 to Dismember, which is less than the Murktide would deal, and then they're all the way Hellbent. Okay, they just accepted their fate. I love that. So now their hand is Force Murktide, and the Murktide is a ways away, and I get to keep all my stuff. Ponder moves in the direction of Murktide. Shuffled. Not going to fetch here. Another land. I kind of like that. I have to think about Price of Progress a little bit, but getting Bowmaster and Brazen Borrower and Hardcast Dismember and like most of combinations of those things are playing around Daze while I do it. Feels good. Bobble. 1 unknown in hand. Do I want to respect that possibility that that 1 unknown is Daze? Right, they're targeting themselves with Bobble, which means they must have a fetch land, because why would you do that otherwise? Right, I'm going to cast Brazen Borrower in their end step. They didn't have a fetch land. You're just going to draw that card. It doesn't make sense to do that without a shuffle. Okay. Well, I don't know if they like that card or not, because they were priced into keeping it. And here comes Kaito, which also conveniently resets. Yeah, you better do that. All right, cool. Lightning Bolt. Yeah, the Kaito picking up the Brazen Borrower also resets the... Oh, fuck you. All right. They'll probably force this because they have to. Wow. All right. That is some discipline. I respect it. All right. They are betting that this Murktide region is going to win them the game with force backup. It's a pretty good bet, all in all. And it is a big Murktide this time. The first one was 5/5. This one is actually bigger than Dismember. It's not bigger than Kaito, but I do have to get Kaito in. But Kaito is not a spell, should I choose to delete my board into making sure it happens, which I might end up doing. All right, opponent is at 14. I have 5 power in play. We know they have a Murktide. it can show up as a 7/7. They found a land, but it's not a shuffle. So that Brainstorm, they're going to see all the cards again. All right, there's Murktide. I think I would like to Brainstorm now. Ponder Baragorf. All right, Engineer Explosives lost its window. Is Dismember good? This is going to be a 7/7. So that means Bowmaster doesn't even kill it with Dismember's help. I think I'm going to get rid of Nethergoyf here. Like, I could just pay 3 mana to Fog 5 damage in a future turn. Like, I can make Murktide hit me for 2. That's a legal play. And if they do just block the Orc Army this turn instead of Bowmaster, that's great. Fatal Push, not helpful. I could Ponder first to respect Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt doesn't save them here, though. Okay, cool. I'm going to attack with both. Because if they block the 4 and bolt the 1, then they lose Murktide. And they can't bolt the 4 because that's not what Lightning Bolt does. And now I might get it all. But I don't have to get it all. Yeah, I'm just going to stun Murktide. All right, stun Murktide. And Bowmaster has Flash, so I can chill on that. Okay, pass the turn. Kaito can be answered by Lightning Bolt or Pyroblast here, but those are 2 things that don't do other things then. I am not going to turn on Daze this late in the game. Ponder. If I could find a Thoughtseize, or okay, there's a Thoughtseize. Okay, if I Thoughtseize here, I'm at 9, and Price of Progress would deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can fetch and fail to find. All right, I'm going to Thoughtseize now. I want to know what's going on. I should have tapped my Swamp there. I don't know what's going on. My brain is all over the place. Force, Daze, Murktide. I think I can win this game without really casting spells again. I'm going to take the Murktide. So their hand is Force, Daze. I'm going to plus Kaito because I want to stun Murktide again next turn, and I want to keep Kaito around, and this is how I'm dealing damage at this point. If I play this Underground Sea, I'm a little softer to Price of Progress, but they're dead if they cast Price of Progress. So it would be 8 damage. They would have to force Barrogoyf. So what would have to happen here? They force Barrogoyf, 1 card left in hand, and then they draw a card. If it's Brainstorm, they can Brainstorm, and they'd have 2 cards left in hand, and 2 cards can't represent Lightning Bolt, Land, Price of Progress. All right, yeah, I'm going to cast Barrogoyf and make them... I'm going to flush out this Force. They 100% have to interact with this card. So what's interesting here is if they Daze instead of Force, I fetch to 8, I have to get a dual land, and then Price of Progress off the top is lethal. Interesting. All right, yeah. That's like a crazy texture. If my opponent is like in the Matrix and knows exactly what their out is, that there was actually a line where I could have lost the game this turn. I think if they Daze there, I would have not paid, which might seem crazy, but it is what it is. All right. I also just have a lethal attack here. If I plus Kaito to 5, ping them for 1, that wins the game. I'm going to Ponder. I'll start there. Tamiyo, Wasteland. All right, I'm not going to shuffle. What could happen here? If they have Force blue card, draw Lightning Bolt, I lose. All right, there's no reason to play into a spot where I could lose this game when I otherwise absolutely cannot lose this game. Okay, stun the Murktide again. Attack for 4. My hand is a buttload of removal spells. Wasteland can also waste one of my own things to play around Price of Progress. I would take 5 if they Price of Progress. And, well, they're dead if they Price of Progress, so I don't have to think about that card. At worst, the game is a draw. Okay. Pass the turn. They know I still have Bowmaster. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Resolves. Okay, I don't think there's anything they could have. They know I have Bowmaster. If they force this to protect DRC, then Fatal Push kills them. Okay, the trophy is back. I think I am not going to advertise this as a trophy. And I know people want me to do that anyway. And just because I was so sure I was dead in this final round, I think it'll make good content. Oi, oi, oi. Crazy match. Okay, a trophy right before Eternal Weekend. You love to see it. Also, I am not going to put in the title, thumbnail, or description that this was a trophy. And that creates plausible deniability for every league in the future of forever. Remember this moment, those of you who always ask me to keep it a surprise. Feels good, though. We played against a spread of reasonable top decks in the format that you might expect. We had good back and forth games around all of them. I think other than that misclick in the last round, I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. I played the first 4 rounds consecutively, and then I had a coaching session for an hour, and then I went and like changed my laundry load and got a drink and checked the mailbox and came back to play that 5th one. So if there was a change of how locked in I was between the first 4 rounds and the last one, I literally am in a different place in life right now. So that 5th round was a little sloppy, but we managed to get away with it. I am very happy with this deck. I have yet to Twisted Image a single Tamiyo, but the dream is alive. I don't think there's much else to say here. I'm going to keep this debrief short. Eternal Weekend will be in the past. The November 10th ban announcement is in the near future. We might be in a lame dunk legacy. Maybe there will be no changes again, and this deck will remain relevant forever. But this is dropping in a middle zone. It's like the 5th or 6th time I've played this deck on the channel. Pretty standard stuff all around. Enjoy this for a few more weeks, and then maybe it'll be different, or maybe it'll remain a top deck. Thank you all for watching. rGold, thanks for submitting the Dealer's Choice League that this is a replacement of. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. The Patreon where, by the way, I dropped over 4,000 words about Legacy and Vintage before Eternal Weekend a couple weeks ago, including 5 decks, 2 Legacy and 3 Vintage decks with guides that I've liked for that event. And Eternal Weekend Europe and Japan are coming up, and I plan to do the same thing. I always drop my decks before tournaments over there. By now, you know how I did at Eternal Weekend. Hopefully I did well, and I can say you could have had my deck and guide the whole time. But that's always true. Check out the Patreon. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here.